out of our advocate clinic, which works with parents who may be struggling for whatever reason, and it's mentoring and parent classes as well as therapy side, helping that.
All right, thank you so much for that response. It's very critical, all the information you guys are providing, but we just want to make sure that the community is aware of the resources that you guys have really let us know what is available. There are opportunities for you as a community members to get involved, and we hope that you would go to the websites there, and I'll let you guys provide that information, the contact information, so everybody can have that. One last question, and I'm going to open it up to individuals who are here to ask questions if they have any. What demographic do you see with the opioid crisis? And this one I didn't give, I'm gonna throw you a curveball. But where are we seeing most of this opioid addiction? What type of population, what demographic, young, so you can give me an age ballpark. Either of you can address it or both of you can address it. I know you said middle age, I think middle school, not middle age, middle school, when you're starting to see the first exposure. Can you show us what area is growing the most, or what you see with your specific demographic and in your charity?
We don't follow the demographics as much as the kind of sheriff's office does, but I mean, we've seen a variety of things. I mean, it does not really matter. We have seen, it seems like it kind of waxes and wanes. Back in 2015, we were seeing more of the younger population, which was like 18 to 20, and then it started to again, and the mean age was then from like 20 to 34, and then, but we really, in all honesty, have seen anywhere in Harford County from the age of 14 to the age of 70. So there really is not a specific age demographic where opioids are concerned. And some of them have gotten, you know, basically they started using something just the way they were supposed to, and then it transitioned to something that was not, you know, that was prescribed by their family physician. And so we've seen it a whole bunch of different ages, but there really is not basically anything. It is non-discriminatory. We've seen it across all races and all demographics as far as, you know, age, and as well as far as whether, you know, you're rich or poor, it doesn't really matter. So we've seen it across all of those.
Just to clarify one thing, when I say middle schoolers, exposed to mostly like vaping, tobacco, marijuana, that sort of thing. But that can always escalate. And I have had clients or overseeing therapists who have clients who have access to medications in the households that they could easily dispose of, you know, leftover medications that they're finding in their team. It's an all hands on deck thing. I actually spoke at the Catholic convocation before COVID, and it was about exactly your question. And as I said, I don't think that opioid use or being addicted to any substance discriminates. I think what happens is, and this was what my paper was sort of on, is what does access to treatment look like? And does everyone know where to get treatment? Does everyone have equal access through their insurance, or do they even have insurance to be able to get treatment? And so that's one of the things that we do at Catholic Charities. If someone is uninsured or unable to be able to afford treatment, we'll be able to work with you and find affordability to be able to get the help that you need, or, you know, help you sign up for Medicaid or whatever it may be, because we, and I'm sure Sandy agrees with this wholeheartedly, everybody deserves the chance to get well. And sometimes people aren't ready, and sometimes I see people that are so sick, they don't know how sick they are, or they don't think that they could ever get better, that recovery is not possible. And I always tell my clinicians, don't try to guess who's going to get well, because you'll be wrong. Because every person to my left or to my right or whatever, we all have the opportunity to get better.
Thank you so much for that, for both of your responses. I appreciate that greatly. Now we want to open it up to our community at large. If we have any questions tonight, if you would like to raise your hand, and we have a mic stand, then you can come to that mic. Where the stand, where do we put the stand? But anybody have any questions for Sandy or for Miss Karen tonight? Anybody? Okay, we got one.
I don't think I need a mic. I'm speaking for somebody that was here at the meeting. What do you say to a young 25-year-old who's been going through this cycle since she's 10 years old? She says she has to go to work, so she couldn't stay. She says, I need healing. I don't have any joy. It brings life. I'm frustrated. I feel like I have intolerance. So what resources are there for her? Where should she go? What does she need to do? Because she came in here crying, talking about her mother just escaped from the recovery center.
Someone really everything I would say. The only thing I would say is all of you in this room right now today have that opportunity to help that young lady or that young man, whichever it is. You have that opportunity because the fact that you now have heard this, so you are an extension of this person. You are a family to them. So guiding them and helping them and trying to nurture them, just being that ear. Sometimes just being that sounding board is a huge, huge thing.
Okay, sure.
Based on something that you said churches. What can many churches, churches, what exactly when the church gets involved, what should the church do?
I think it's to Sandy's point. It's just a sense of community, of not feeling alone. You can be around a group of people and still feel alone.
But do you start does the church, should the church start some type of program where people can share?
I mean, I think that's always an option, but I think you don't always have to recreate the wheel because those programs out there, again, it's a matter of being able to navigate what's out there. Because even people who are looking for treatment don't know where to go. And so much focus is on the addicted person that the family sometimes gets left out, or at least they feel left out. So a lot of times if someone goes to a treatment program, there's a family component, right? But at the same time, the church isn't responsible for like holding a therapy group. That there's programs that can do do that. It's, as I said, an all hands on deck. It's a multi-layer support, so that they don't feel alone. But there also may be necessary issues that need to be addressed in therapy. A lot of times, if you're a child of a parent who has struggled with addiction, and this is not in a judgmental way, but there sometimes is neglect. There's food insecurity. There may be different, housing issues. And so, not one person's not usually capable of addressing all those issues if they haven't been trained in a clinical therapeutic setting.
Like, each month, there was sort of a doctor, but
no one really knows what to look for when it comes to, oh, the doctor gave me this medicine, I'm taking it, and I've been on it for, I don't know, 6 weeks now, and I can't get off of it because if I stop it, then I have a problem. But there, what are they doing to make sure that they're educated, to know I should be careful with this. You know, because I have not. It's taken us and she's afraid. And she's asking me what terminology and names. Well, actually, yes.
As far as the Office of Drug Control policy is concerned, we do have a lot of literature, a lot of information that we do share, and we do speak specifically, or speaking to certain groups. One thing that we are doing, that I'm doing, for the state of Maryland, for the Office of Drug Control policy, I've become what's called an academic detailer. And what that means is that I go out to clinicians' offices, whether it is an OB office, whether it is an internal medicine office. I go to those and we're just starting pediatrician offices, going in and we speak specifically to the physicians, one about good practices and how they are relaying that information to their patients. So in other words, when they're giving their patients a prescription for an opioid, one, are they prescribing naloxone? Two, are they giving them the risk and the information about the fact that they become, addicted to this medication, that it does have that tendency, and also giving them information for family members on what to look for in their loved one, or the person who's a caretaker in this person when they are taking this medication. And two, not prescribing it for an extended period of time is the key thing. So we're I came from 34 years in internal medicine before I came to work here. I worked in a practice that prescribed medication. I saw the risks that were there. I saw what was happening. It was very hard for me to go back to my job after losing my son to opioid. It was a heroin overdose, but he got he was taking opioids for a car accident, and that's how he transitioned. And it was very hard for me seeing that. And the physicians, but I know the whole pathway. But right now, I refer to it as we're backdooring it. We're going in after the fact, trying to educate the clinicians, especially those that have been around for a while. But I go in, I tell them, I'm not a pharmaceutical rep, I'm an anti-pharmaceutical rep. I'm coming in to tell you basically some good practices that you as a clinician should be doing. And two, what you should be sharing with your patients when you are prescribing them. So we are trying to get that information out. We have lots of different resource brochures and stuff that we take, we go out into the public. We do a lot of resource tables. We've done it for you guys, when you had your thing on Saturdays. We've done that. So we try to provide that education for those patients. And what we tell people is, you should trust your physician. Yes, they're the man, they're the woman who's wearing the white coat. However, you as a patient have the right to ask your physician all the questions you want to ask. So in other words, do I really need to take this opioid? Can I use Tylenol? Can I use Motrin? How long should I be taking? All of those questions, you have the right to ask them. Doesn't just because they have the white coat or the physician doesn't mean, or nurse practitioner, PA, whatever it is, doesn't mean you don't have the right to ask about your own health and ask whether or not you really need that
just wanted to add one thing. I think, I completely agree 100%. But I also think sometimes people are prescribed pain medication because there's legitimate pain, right? Or a cancer patient where they need to take it. My dad was in a near fatal car accident in the spring, and I'm from Boston, and I flew up there because I knew I flew there because of the accident, but he was given a whole lot of pain medication, which he needed. But I was monitoring it because I know enough about it. So I think part of it is because I have that information that maybe not everybody has. So I asked a lot of questions, what else he could take. Then I started realizing he was taking the oxycodone because it was helping him sleep. I mean, he was crushed by a car, but it was helping him sleep because he had post-traumatic stress disorder because he was crushed by a Mack truck. But it wasn't the intended use of the medication because we were managing his pain through other non-opioid medications, but that's what was helping him sleep. So I had to have a conversation with the doctor about, can he take something else to be able to fall asleep versus relying, because I know what the long-term effects can be for someone who's taking opioids, even if as prescribed. I'm so grateful that you're educating PCP offices, because a lot of times it's overprescribed, or they'll err on the side where it's not prescribed at all. And you need to find a sweet spot in there because sometimes there is legitimate use for such medications, and we're relying on family members or the patient themselves to decipher all this, and they don't know. So it's important to ask questions and not be afraid to ask questions.
Thank you. Hope that addressed your question. Great questions tonight. Any other questions from the community tonight? Anybody? Okay. You give them. You probably want to come up to the mic. Will you go back? Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, guys, for coming here today. I work in the pharmacy, and I heard you say about Narcan, Suboxone. Right. What I've seen is the Suboxone is actually to wean them from the opioid, but some people get overdosed with Suboxone as well. So what do you do to make sure they actually get off completely from Suboxone itself? Because some people overdose it. And also for the Narcan, what I've seen is the doctors will prescribe the oxycodone, the morphine, they'll give them the Narcan, but they'll come take the oxy. I don't want the Narcan because it's expensive. So my question is, what are you guys doing to make sure they get the Narcan free of charge? Or are you guys giving the doctors themselves should have the Narcan to give it free of charge to patients? Because what normally happens is they will come, they will take the opioid, the pain medicine to heal the pain, which they use for other stuff, they overdose it, but they won't take the one that will wean them off from overdosing. So I think you guys should try as much as possible. Like you said, you've been going to the PCP office, make sure they have it free of charge for patients to be able to help them get off their pain medicine. Thank you.
Did you want to address?
Yeah, as far as Harford County, first of all, if you guys wanted a Narcan training class here, you could have it. The Narcan is provided through a grant through the health department. Any patient can go to any Klein's or ShopRite and get Narcan for free. So the case that they're being too expensive, that's all provided through the grant. So we are providing free Narcan. Right now, big pharmacies don't want to have the commitment of having all that the paperwork for all of that. However, ShopRite, whatever you want to call it, been around a long time. They do provide the free Narcan, which is through the Harford County Health Department, as well as the free Narcan training where anybody can be trained and receive 2 doses of Narcan. And like here, I have Narcan on me all the time because I did do that training. I can give it as an EMT on the ambulance, but as a layperson, I couldn't until I took the training. But it's very simple and easy.
I can only speak to my experience as Catholic Charities in our medication-assisted treatment program with Suboxone. Ours is a little different. We require that person to also engage in therapy. It's not just medication management. And so we see them on a regular basis with therapy as well as their Suboxone. They do have to take the Narcan. It doesn't mean they're going to use it. We're aware that people divert their Suboxone. But what we do is we check their labs. They need to engage in having labs done so we can make sure that they are taking it and that they're taking it properly. And that they're not diverting it, because we're not gonna be part of that equation. Like, we want to help them and we would address it and talk about it. Again, because we're from a harm reduction model, but I absolutely know that people self-regulate with Suboxone to try to get themselves either off, heroin or opioids. And the help is available. I live in Baltimore City. You can get Narcan for free in Baltimore City through the local health department, or if you have Maryland Medicaid, then there's no cost. It might be $1 to be able to get Narcan. So I think if people really wanted Narcan, you could get it or call the local health department and they will direct you, because there's so much grant money out there. There's SOAR, which is a state opioid response to, it's a Maryland state program for opioid response, and really trying to make sure that everybody has access.
Thank you so much, and Sandy, for those responses. Sounds like you just have to know your resources and know where to educate yourself and locate those resources, because they're out there. Thank you guys for sharing that. Did you have something?
I was just gonna say, I think it's hard because like the general person just doesn't know unless you come to something like this, or like, because even if you Google, like, what do you put in? Like overdose? Like, you just don't know. And so as I started out today, it's all about having community discussions and just letting people know what's out there. And it's okay to ask questions, and it's a judgment-free zone. And I think it's a taboo topic. People don't want to talk about it, or sometimes they don't want to get the Narcan because they don't want to say they have an addicted loved one. Because what are the neighbors going to think? And once, as my mom said to me, like, you think the neighbors don't know? Like, so let's do something about it, So I think it's important to, not be shame-filled, but forward-focused and being part of the solution.
Thank you so much. So powerful, so powerful. We have another question? Any other questions? Oh, you need to get the microphone so we can hear you.
ShopRite launch, ShopRite, yeah. But you can get it through the Hartford County Health Department. All you have to do is contact them. I think they still have their food video up, so you watch the food video, and then you just have to go to here in Edgewood. You just have to go to the health department here in Edgewood. It's readily available in Hartford County. It's like a 10-minute video, yeah. Really.
10-minute video, ShopRite, readily available in Hartford County. That's good to know. Good to know. Any other questions? I hope we've addressed most of them. Any other ones we want to close up for tonight? Yes.
One thing I would say is that those middle schoolers come to the Boys and Girls Club. So you're always welcome. We have a program called Smart Girls, called Smart Decisions, another program called Passport to Manhood. So at your convenience, from 3 to 7, we can come in and gather those. We can have access to the kids probably before the school will let you back in. And I have one final question. Can one of you or both of you educate us on fentanyl? Fentanyl is obviously a very hot buzzword. A lot of people don't know what it is or what the impact of it is. So if you can discuss that quickly, appreciate it.
What I can tell you about fentanyl is fentanyl is a synthetic opioid. It's a manufactured opioid, but it's a very strong one. So if you look at, compared to a grain of salt, the grain of salt is what basically the size, if you're looking at comparing it to heroin or something like that, is fentanyl. It's a very small, minute amount. And right now, in Harford County, we are seeing almost every drug that is laced with fentanyl. I can't tell you the statistics off the top of my head, but there is not, I don't think, that's ever been in Harford County right now that has not been laced with fentanyl. And that's your cocaine, that is, heroin, cocaine, also, they've seen some, not necessarily Harford County, but in other states they've seen, or even marijuana. So it is a very deadly drug. The misconception is that some people think that Narcan does not work towards fentanyl. It will. It just takes a lot more Narcan to reverse the effects of fentanyl because of the strength of it.
There's also carfentanil, which is like a magnified dose of fentanyl, which could tranquilize an elephant. So that just gives you perspective of how strong of a medication this is. When I first started at my last job at University of Maryland, we get these overdose alerts in the city. And I was saying to my substance users, oh, don't go to Sandtown. Like there's overdoses, it's a bad batch. Unbeknown to me, one of my clients was like, Miss Karen, stop telling them that. That's where they want to go because that's what has the fentanyl. I learned a lot of what I've learned from working with people who struggle with addiction because they will straight up tell me what's going on. So I stopped telling them about the alerts, but that's where they were going to because that's the good heroin is when it's laced with fentanyl, but absolutely that is what is causing overdoses and deaths. As I said, I had a family member who died of cocaine laced with fentanyl. So it's not just in here.
Thank you so much for your responses. Excellent questions tonight. We want to wrap it up tonight. Any final questions tonight? I don't want to overlook anyone. We've had a lively discussion tonight. Let's give both of our panelists a hand tonight. They have been excellent. Ms. Sandy Gallion. I want you both to give your contact information because there may be somebody watching live streaming. They want to Google your website or whatever information you want to use as a contact so that they can take advantage of the resources that your agency has to offer.
I'll leave some cards here for the people that are here in person. My email is khaughey, @cc-md.org. It's khaughey@cc-md.org. Or you can just go to our website, which is Catholic Charities of Baltimore, or www.cc-md.org. But I will tell you, because we have 80 programs, our website has a lot of information. So you might just want to email me or call me. As I said, my phone number is 667-600-3031. And I'm happy to share my resources and direct anybody that may need some help.
My email address is smgallion, that's GALLION, @Harford County MD, michaeldavid.gov. And you can go to the Harford County website, so it's www.harfordcountymd.gov. And all of our programs is just search, just put in ODCP, and that'll take you to our website. And then again, like Karen says, we have tons of programs. And so it might be easier just to email me or you can contact me at 410-638-3333. And my extension is 1255. Thank you for that, allowing me to speak today. Again, any resources that we can provide for you, we are very willing. And as far as the Boys and Girls Club, I'll give you one of my cards. Please let me know what's available. We would love to come in and offer some of our programs here.
I just want to give the phone number of our Abington clinic for anyone that may be interested. And I have some handouts for those of you that are here. 667-600-3220, and they are located at William Paca Business Center, 1301 Continental Drive. So someone's always available to return your call, or we're in a hybrid model, so there are people there. Thank you. I really appreciate the opportunity today.
Thank you so much, Sandy and Karen. Let's give them one final round of applause. Thank you for your time and your expertise. Thank you all for coming out. Give yourselves a hand for coming out and asking questions and being so attentive tonight. We thank you for your patience. And we just thank everyone for joining us live stream. We thank you for joining us as well. And we hope that you would continue to follow us at The Bridge to Life, www.thebridgetolife.org. That is our website. Again, I thank my Bridge to Life Community Opioid Response Project team for a successful 9 or 10 months. We've been going since March doing our webinars, so we're just thankful for that. Our program manager is in the back there. I'm not going to put him on the front. Pastor Ronald Reeves, we want to thank him for his leadership. And for everybody that has joined us tonight, we hope that you've learned something tonight that will help us to work together and partner together to help combat this opioid crisis, not just in Edgewood, but not just Harford County, but in the whole country. It is a problem. So we thank you for joining us tonight. Continue to see the resources. Those of you that are here tonight, make sure you sign in at the back table. If you didn't sign in when you came, we need your information so that we can stay in contact with you and let you know about. We hope this is our first, but it will not be our last community forum in this format, because I think it's good to talk and have these open discussions so that we can learn from each other. We can realize that we are not alone. Our family's not the only family that's going through, but we can work through this together. So again, we thank you for coming tonight. Have a great evening. Stay safe, and we'll talk to you soon, okay? Yes. One of our poster contestants is here. Okay. Say your name. Cameron. Thank Cameron. She was here. We had a poster contest for the opioid. Give Cameron a round of applause for participating in our poster contest. Those will be viewed on our Tuesday night webinar coming up at 7 p.m. on our bridgetolife.org. So if you go to our website, you will see that. And make sure you use the number 2, not TWO, but bridgetolife.org. So we're thankful for you and thankful for our young people, definitely. So thank you, Mr. Tony Adams, for opening up the Boys and Girls Club to us for this forum tonight as well. And we thank, of course, our funder, the Harford County Health Department. We're not going to leave them out. They made this all possible through their granting, funding support, as well as their partnership. And also Fred Grayson and the Project Lazarus Group, we also want to acknowledge them for allowing us to partner with them through this process. So everyone have a great evening. Thank you again for coming out tonight, and be safe.